that you were saying about the rumors.
Yeah. You could hear all kinds of rumors, you know. Of course, that went on all during the war. That book, right there, I think it was, it was when he published that book, it finally came out that our government said, well, we've got to tell the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And then they said, yes, it really did happen. Mm-hmm. But up until that time, they said that anybody that talked was suffering from combat fatigue, hallucinations. They were just imagining things, and anything. And the government kept saying, well, it never did happen.
Mm-hmm.
Well, after this book came out, then they said, yes, it did. But by that time, people had sort of forgot about it.
Right.
But a lot of those mothers and parents of those people who were killed, they never knew.
Never knew what happened to them.
They never knew what happened.
Oh, here's the chenille boat here. Mm-hmm.
That's an S-boat. They were, that's not a very good picture of them, but they were sort of like our PT boat. I never actually saw one, but I heard stories about them. Boy, everybody talked about, we called them eagle boats. I heard stories about the eagle boats all the time, how fast they were on the water and everything. Mm-hmm. If you want that magazine, take it home with you.
Yeah, would you mind if I...
Yeah, you can take it home.
Thank you. Here's a Navy signal guy.
Mm-hmm.
How about that? Dressed in a little bit different clothing than what we wore at Conneaut. I wanted to ask you about your landing 70 years later at Conneaut.
And hey, I'm going to ask you something. And maybe maybe I shouldn't even ask this.
No, that's all right.
But are we going to do that next year?
If you like.
Could I go in, not in a weasel, but could I walk in with the troops when they go in?
As long as
could I, instead of carrying an M1 rifle, I'd like to carry the American flag?
Yeah, sure.
I'd like to do that.
Sounds good. Sounds good. How about I get you some clothes? I can get you a uniform. That work?
I think I've got an OD uniform. It's upstairs in a barracks. Like, I don't know if I still got that uniform.
Oh, I've got enough.
I got the jacket, but I can't get it buttoned around me now.
I got enough stuff. Yeah.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how it turns out. I don't know. That's a whole year away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're still with us, we'll make it happen.
Okay. Yeah.
What size is your waist?
I wear a 32.
I got you covered.
Eh? Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Got you covered.
Yeah. I don't know. Wait a minute. I'll show you.
You didn't tell him about.
We're figuring out for next year what we're gonna do. Where do you? That's okay. All right. Let me see. Because I have all kinds of pants. Oh. Oh, you're good. I'm much fatter than you.
Yeah, but hell, that's the whole year away. Maybe if you feed me too good.
Maybe I won't feed you at all.
You ever see that belt buckle?
I saw that. I was going to ask you, why didn't they paint this part gray?
I don't know. And I don't know where this belt buckle came from.
Can I see it again?
One of our reunions or something, they must have had them for sale.
You didn't tell about when you went to the hospital in England. Who waited on you? You can't remember and I can't either?
No. What happened?
Your classmate.
Huh?
Your classmate.
Oh, Wilbur Houston. Yeah. Wilbur, We were in the class of 1943 down here in Union City High School.
I have not seen it.
And this guy that was in my class in school,
Oh, okay.
everybody went in the service. There was only one of our group that didn't pass, and all the rest of them were in the service. But this guy that was in my class, he went in the Navy. He was in the Navy had these advanced hospitals. Now, what they called them, I don't know, but they were set up to handle casualties in advanced areas. They used them, I understood, a lot in over in the South Pacific. The Navy set up these hospitals. I don't know. But anyway, when they took me back to England, I was sent to a Navy hospital in Southampton. Well, I didn't know anybody was there, and I didn't realize that Wilbur was anywhere near, and he didn't know I was there. It wasn't until after the war we began talking, and he was a corpsman in that hospital. My first hospital I was in.
How about that?
But they didn't keep us very long. You know, right after D-Day, they were very hard up for replacements. So as soon as you got so you could navigate at all, you're right back over there. Some of the guys were still bandaged up. They said, when you get back there, you go to your field medic, and he'll take care of you. And a lot of them went back that way. Yeah. So, but anyway, that's Wilbur, and they have an organization, or they did have. I guess it's just about. You know, it's like a lot of World War II. You know, it's all done now. But I did go to some of their reunions. We had one up in New York State there.
Great Lakes.
Yeah. And I went to some of them, but they've quit now. They just about done.
What do you think about what goes on at Conneaut?
I think it's real good. But what I can't understand is how that group, I don't know how they're financed.
Oh.
But how can they put that on, keep putting that on? It must cost $1 million.
It's not that
ton
much.
of money to put that on. How can they do that?
Well,
Do they make that much off of those buckets?
good question. We estimated that we had 30,000 people there over the 2 days. I think that may be a little high. We collected about $20,000 in the buckets. We sold $32,000 worth of merchandise. Now, it may have cost us $18,000, $19,000, $20,000 to buy the stuff that we sold.
Yeah.
So that includes the coins and the patches, the pins, T-shirts, posters, coffee mugs, variety of other, things that we design. I do the coins. That's my contribution. We get some grants.
Well, I wondered if there was any grant.
There's educational grants that are given by the state of Ohio, or nothing federal. There's been no federal money kicked our way for anything. Let me think of donations, private donations of people that want to perpetuate the story. The Higgins boats, for example, there was a few families that donated a significant amount of money to buy those Higgins boats. They actually belong to the event. So the one that you rode in on actually is DDay Conneaut property.
They said it belonged to.
Yes, it does belong to the event. We bought 2 boats and a new motor for one of them. So in the deal, I think it was $26,000, $28,000 total for those boats. And that was covered primarily from the donations of 2 families. I'm sorry, I I don't know their names right off the top of my head, but that was about 3 years ago. In 2009, our budget for that event was about $4,000. That's it. In 2009. Now that's before you came up, right?
Yeah.
You've only been coming up for the last 3-4 years.
Yeah.
So in 2009, the event was ready to be gone. We had $460 in the bank, and myself and Betsy Bayshore, Lisa Torrey, who's now Lisa Mertzke, we kind of got together, and us three, and put together a plan to keep the event going. And Lisa kind of ran it from a presidential aspect. Betsy ran it from a financial aspect, and I ran it from a support aspect of coming up with the challenge coin. Now, the challenge coin obviously costs less than what we sell it for.
Yeah.
The whole reason behind the challenge coin is to raise money for the event and also tell the story. So there's 6 of them right now. So we raise a lot of money by selling the coins. And so we made enough money to run the event in 2009 with the proceeds from the coin, and other people donating $100 here or $50 there, or $200 or $500. The guys with the airplanes. Now those Mustangs are 3/4 scale. They are owned by John Williams of Titan Aircraft, who has their factory about 10 miles from Conneaut. And Austinburg, I believe, is the name of the town. And they have a little fly-in every year for guys that buy these planes. They're kit planes. You build them in your garage. And I think they're about $57,000. And these fellows come to the event. And John, and there's a gunner pilot called Bill. I can't remember his last name. He goes by Wild Bill. Those are the guys that fly really low. And, you had a really good, from where you were on the beach, you had a really good show because they're constantly flying by.
Yeah.
And whereas the infantry guys, when they don't see all that. They might see it one time and that's it. Where you're at and I'm at, I've got that air show all day long just going over top of our heads. It's quite impressive,
Well, now, does he have the B-25?
No, the B-25, the one that was there this year, came out of Michigan. That was the silver one. The green one, that was the last 2 years, was the same silver one from 3 years ago, repainted in invasion colors. He comes out of, that's the Liberty Aviation Museum, and they're out of Port Clinton, Ohio. There's something wrong with their fuel tanks. So we had to negotiate through Liberty Aviation with the airplane out of Michigan to bring that airplane in replacement of the other one that was down for maintenance. You can imagine, after so many years, these planes, they're not a dime a dozen, and there's not many of them flying around. There's more B-25s than anything. We had tried to raise enough money to get a B-17 in, which would have been very impressive, because obviously a much bigger airplane.
Yeah.
And there are a number of fellows, your age, they come that are B-17, either drivers or crewmen or what have you, and it would have been really great for them to come and see, a B-17. I'm not sure what altitude they would fly that plane at. In comparison, but when you think about it, those planes are flying really low. And but to answer your question, Arden, we rely solely on really the donations of people to put money in the buckets, to send us donations, to give us support in either material or financial. And the purchases of merchandise, such as the coins, the patches, the pins, the posters, T-shirts, all the rest of the stuff that we sell. So I know you have one of the coins over there that I saw, and I should have brought you one for this year. I didn't see that one over there.
Did you see the LVA patch there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mean the British one?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I belonged to that at one time.
You do.
But
Okay.
I was talking to this guy last year there at Conneaut, and he said they're just about out of business now.
They are.
World War II.
This was it.
Yeah.
This year I ran into a number of people, either A, on the boat or in pool, this was their final hurrah.
Yeah.
And it's a shame, you know, and I think initially when I formed up the veterans program 4 years ago, I saw that a lot of groups like the 1st Division, 82nd, 101st, 4th Division, 28th Division, you know, even though they weren't part of the invasion, but all the reunions were just basically disbanding.
Yeah.
For World War II.
30th Division went out.
Yeah, there's
I think
no fellows anymore.
Yeah.
And if there are, there's 3 or 4, and you know it's better for them to get on the phone and talk to each other than to have a trip back to Normandy like you did. Very difficult.
But even our outfit is much smaller now than it used to be when we first started going.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I look at Conneaut now as it's the reunion of everybody.
Yeah.
And all told, we had 147 World War II guys there this year. That's a lot.
And there was, I talked to people there, veterans, and I said to them, "Are you Canadian?" They said, "No, we're British." They come all the way from England.
What, at Conneaut?
To
Or-
Conneaut.
They did?
Yeah, they must have. They said they were British. They weren't Canadians. Well, the Canadians and the British all dressed alike.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, you're talking reenactors? Or?
Yeah, reenactors.
Oh, yeah, okay.
No, these weren't reenactors. They were just veterans that came there, I think. And I talked to them, and I remember I asked them about the hobnail shoes, and we talked about them, and they said they weren't Canadians, they were British.
Huh.
And apparently they came all the way from England over there to Conneaut.
I didn't hear that. I don't know nothing about it.
Because we had a little session with hobnail shoes over there.
Huh.
All the European armies were all,
Oh, at Conneaut or over in France?
well, over in France.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so some of our people that were running the show, they decided Americans should have hobnail shoes too. So we were all issued combat boots with hobnail shoes.
Really?
Hobnails. Well, when you'd get on board a Navy ship, they had those steel gangways, you know what I mean, like steel stairs. Well, you had steel against steel, and I saw more times than one, the guy would step down and his feet would go out from under him, and he'd go right down the stairway, bumpity bump. The hobnails didn't last very long.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
How about
So we only had them for a little while, and they went back to the hard rubber soles.
that? Okay.
On account of that, I think.
Now, you had service shoes with the leggings, right? Is that what you wore?
Yeah.
Or boots?
They were, well, when we first, we didn't get, it was quite a ways into the combat before we got the combat boots, you know, with the extra around there.
Oh, the buckle boots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had leggings, regular field shoes and leggings.
Okay. That were 3/4, like up here, you know.
Yeah.
And then the leggings went down, protected the
leggings
opening.
and come up about that high.
Oh, yeah, the leggings would, but
Yeah.
the boots wouldn't. They would
Yeah.
be just above the ankle.
Yeah.
Okay. Service shoes.
Yeah.
We call them. Yeah. Okay. See, I've got the whole schmeal. Now, a lot of people, when they look at the Navy group that we do, we have paratrooper boots. Mm-hmm. That's what they were issued. They for whatever reason, from what I heard, that they found that the sand didn't penetrate the boot as like the legging did.
Yeah.
And so since they were crawling around the beach, and I tell you, it does work, because I've crawled around that beach at Conneaut many times, never had problem with sand in my shoes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I know that your little soldier that you have over there in that box.
Did you notice that?
Oh yeah,
The one in the box.
Yeah,
Oh.
the one in the box. How did you get that?
I know she got it.
You got that.
From the toy store.
I used to sell those.
Oh, did you?
Yes, I did. I sold.
Hey, I'm going to run to the little boy's room pretty soon. Hey, are we going down to Corey?
Yes.
Yeah.